Welcome back to another episode of your Wellness Friend podcast, your go-to place every Wednesday for gut health tips, real talk, and wellness wins you can actually stick to. I'm your host, Francis, certified wellness coach and your personal guide to feeling amazing in your body, especially if you had your gallbladder removed, dealing with digestive issues, or just want to stop feeling like your food is the enemy. If this show has helped you in any way, would you do me a quick favor? Leave me a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It helps more women like you find this show and start feeling better, faster. And if you're ready to take the next step, head over to my website to learn more about working with me one-on-one. Let's grab your matcha and let's dive in. Hello, ladies. Welcome back to another episode. I'm so excited to have you guys here. Thank you once again for tuning in. It means the world to me. This week's episode is going to be something that I think kind of touches on everyone, whether you do or you don't have a gallbladder. I think everyone kind of asks this question, just about all the time. So if you guys seen the title and you guys clicked on the title, then something you definitely want to know. So definitely want to invite you ladies to go ahead and like and follow and possibly pass it along to any other women that may possibly have the same question or concern. And this week we're going to be talking about pretty much having to eat every 3 hours. And what does that look like? One of the biggest struggles that I personally had after my gallbladder was removed was figuring out what to eat, especially when I heard advice like eat every 3 hours. But what does that even look like? Like, what food should I be grabbing? What should I be looking for? Especially when you first find out about your gallbladder, you're told so much about making sure that you don't have greasy food or fatty food or nothing that was too high in fiber or low in fiber. Like, it's just a whole bunch of everything. And for me, especially with my lifestyle at the moment, or at the time, I should say, when I first lost my gallbladder, my kids were young and I needed something quick and easy and fast. And I didn't have time to sit down and do research or had enough money, to be very honest, at that time in my life to even hire a coach of any kind. So that's what I said, that's what this podcast is all about. I kind of say it repeatedly every I kind of want to always bring it back and kind of remind myself of the why. Why is it that I do what I do? Why am I a coach? Why am I making a podcast? And I make it for someone like yourself, someone like me, something that I needed to hear back in the days. I wish I had a podcast like this when I was first starting off on my gallbladder journey when I was able to do that and I didn't have it. So I'm doing it now, right? So today, ladies, I'm going to make it simple with 3 easy lists. 1 for protein, 1 for healthy fat, and 1 for fiber. So you always know what to choose. So when I first tried to follow the every 3 hour advice, I really, really felt overwhelmed. I didn't know what snacks were safe. I didn't know whether what I was grabbing was something too heavy that made me feel awful, or if I underate and felt weak. But once I built like a simple list, all I had to do was just check everything off. What really helped me was just having some sort of framework, some sort of like right way, something that was quick, something that was easy, something that I knew would not fail me. And that's something for you ladies and my clients that I think really can help, and something that can really just overall just help with the need of learning how to eat properly. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of you people are asking, or a lot of clients, especially like clients of mine, ask, okay, well, explain to me, like, why? Like, why do I need to eat every 3 hours? Like, what is the reasoning for it? How is this going to help me now that my gallbladder is removed? Because a lot of the time when you have your gallbladder removed, you have already had a very unhealthy way of eating, right? Something definitely triggered it, something that was a lifestyle that you had from very early on. And when you're doing these things, you're thinking to yourself like, okay, I was already either overeating or I was already having all this bad food. So make it make sense how am I going to eat more food to feel better? Right? That was my question. I'm like, explain to me how I'm going to eat more food, but yet I'm going to feel better, or how I'm going to eat more food and then lose weight. And that's why, again, I try to tell my clients, and I'm here to say that in this podcast, the food is not the enemy. The food is not the enemy. You have to build your relationship with your food first, and that will help everything else just balance out. And what happens is that the reason why many doctors will suggest for you to eat every 3 hours is to prevent heavy, like large, heavy meals that will overwhelm your digestion. Because what happens is that, as I said before, the main reason of a gallbladder is to release bile. The bile, which is going to be an acid in the body, it will help to break down the food. It helps for you to digest your food properly. So when you have small meals repeatedly over 3 hours, by the time your body is processing one meal, and it's just about at the end of that, you're putting in something small again, and it keeps the train going. Um it keeps the food assembly line kind of moving in the way it should be. So another good thing is it also supports your blood sugar levels. And that's another big thing. A lot of people who have their gallbladder removed do deal with a lot of insulin resistance, or they have a lot of blood sugar spikes and lows. And the reason for that is because your body is trying to work itself out, and your body is trying to constantly push things along. So by doing that, by giving your body small bite-sized portions of food every couple of hours, that will actually help you to support your blood sugar. It's really important for energy and for hormone balance, and it will let the actual assembly line move smoothly. And then most importantly is it keeps the bile flow and the digestion moving consistently. So again, giving that visual of the actual food processing line, having it go smoothly. Because what happens is that once you have your gallbladder taken out, your liver has to work in overtime. I've said this before, ladies. Your liver has to go into overtime because now you do not have an actual gallbladder to let out drops like a constant leaky faucet, right, of bile. Now what happens is that by the time your food gets digested and goes into your system and actually works its way through, by the time it gets to the liver has to shoot out a large amount of bile to really break down whatever food is remaining. So when it does that, it puts a lot of stress on your body. And if you're doing it slowly and the actual food size or quantity is not as large, your liver does not have to work as hard either. So it does help across the board. I wanted to make it simple, nothing too crazy. I wanted to be like, okay, cool. If I need to now really change the way I'm eating, I need it to be simple. I'm actually going to go ahead and put down in the description box a nice little PDF of these options. So if you're driving, don't need to pull out the notes or anything. I'm actually going to have it there. You ladies can download it for free and be able to look it over. But what it's going to be is that I had one coming from the protein bucket, I had one coming from the healthy fat bucket, and I had one coming from the fiber bucket. And things in the protein bucket, I would always make sure that my meal at least had one of these things, either a hard-boiled egg whites if you're sensitive, Greek yogurt. Make sure to try to do it unsweetened or lactose-free if needed. I would do chicken or turkey slices, my Applegate, which I have linked in my Amazon food shopping list. I use that. That's the brand I use all the time. You can definitely check that out in my Stanley store if you wanted to go find that exactly where it's at. Protein smoothies with a clean powder. I will also put that as well. I really have a mix. I use a different one all the time, but making sure that your protein smoothie has clean powders. And then cottage cheese. I know it's a texture thing for some people. It's something you do have to get used to. But once you do, it's exquisite, guys. It's exquisite. Absolutely love it. And another thing would be the healthy bucket, right? So the healthy fat bucket. I made sure to have these in small portions. So I would always make sure that I did half an avocado, or I made sure I had a drizzle of olive oil or flax oil. Another one would be just a small handful of nuts like almonds, walnuts, and cashews. I did a lot of nut butters. So I would do like a quick little 1 teaspoon. And ladies, I don't know if this helped for me personally when went ahead and started making these changes. I did a full clean of my kitchen, right? I cleaned out my pantries. I cleaned out my tabletops. I cleaned out my cabinets. I did a full clean. And what I did was that in the beginning, as I mentioned before, it was really just me. This kind of changed because my family was not on the same season as I was. So it really was just me in the beginning. So what I would do is that I dedicated one cabinet just to me, one part of the kitchen top just for me, and I would have everything ready and available. I would use small little baskets to put all of my treats, like all of my snacks that I had made, or a handful of nuts. I would actually go to the Dollar Tree. I would go and pick up a small Ziploc bag, and I would have it already measured out. So I would go to like a big box store like Sam's or Costco's or BJ's. I will buy them in bigger bulk, and then I would individually separate them, put a date on it, and I would throw it into that basket. I always had it somewhere on the countertops. Of course, if you look into Pinterest has all these really cute layouts, and I would go ahead and put all of my spices together and all of my oils together and all of my seasonings together. Had everything within hand reach. And another good thing I used was I would always have teaspoons, tablespoons, cups, 1 cup, half a cup, fourth of a cup, always available on the counter for me. So it made it easy for me to go ahead and simply just use that whenever I was wanting to snack. So something like this, like choosing like a nut butter and having 1 tablespoon, I would take tablespoon, pour it out. I would eat it like a lollipop, and that would be just a healthy option for me. Another thing would be seeds, chia seed, hemp seed, pumpkin seeds. I usually would throw those on a lot of my stuff as like toppings for crunch. And I still do it to this day. I think one of the most popular ones that I use is chia seed. I have chia seed in just about everything I eat, ladies. It's insane. And then another thing would be the fiber bucket. Now, this was something that I really had to do it deliberately because in the beginning, I had a carb bucket. My bucket was full of carbs. Every meal of mine always started with the carb and ended with the carb and was built off of a carb. So for me, I really had to switch the way of thinking. The first thing that I did, honestly, was I started using the measuring cup. So I would use 1 cup. I would use 1 cup and I would have it nearby. So whenever I was serving myself rice, because again, I'm Puerto Rican, so rice was just part of my everyday, I would go ahead and I would take the 1 cup and I would put that in and I would kind of build off of there. And then what I did over time is that now I'm down to a half a cup. I have my 1 cups every once in a while, don't get me wrong. But if I really want something filling, I would do half a cup. And my body's already gotten accustomed to only doing half a cup. And if I do anything more of that, I'm like, oh, this is too much. And again, it's all about habits. It's all about stacking the habits as well. So going back to the buckets. So the fiber bucket. This is something that I use to build my plate with them. So cooked veggies, zucchinis, carrots, spinach, green beans. A lot of also small fruit portions. This actually I did pretty often. I would actually go ahead and get cute glass storage containers and I would mix them together, right? And I would again buy them in big bulk, kind of separate them and do it that way. So I would do berries and kiwis and pear slices and things like that. Another good thing was also oats and quinoa. Now, listen, ladies, I just recently, and I mean recently, started eating quinoa. I'm going to be 100%. In the beginning, I've tried it. I was like, it's not my favorite. I would try to incorporate it every chance I get. And then finally, I said, you know what? Let me really give it an effort. Let me really sit down and try different kinds of cooking styles and see which one works best for me. And now I got one and it works great. I definitely will share that recipe soon coming up, so you guys could definitely see it. Beans. That was an easy one for me because, again, I'm Hispanic, so I always have beans with every single meal. But what was different was adding them into other options that I wouldn't think. Like, for example, if I was going to do like a bean burger, a black bean burger, that was something that was new. Or I would have beans and I would add it to my, what was this? Like salsa. Or, lentils. I'm not really big into lentils. I still am not a fan of lentils, but every once in a while I find a way of incorporating them just to give it a try. But beans are a great form of fiber. And then, of course, going back to my chia seed and my ground flaxseed, I would use them a lot in my yogurts, a lot in my smoothies. So that was definitely something that was a little bit easier for me. Just to go and do a full circle back, I would always have 3 buckets. It was always a bucket of protein, a bucket of healthy fat, and a bucket of fiber. I definitely want to say the best way to do these things, ladies, and really kind of incorporate them and make them actionable but yet doable is to practice. You guys have to practice. That's all you got to do is take a day. Like, for example, today, right now in Florida, it is a rainy day. It is October the 11th, and I'm recording this now, which it won't be airing until Wednesday. But honestly, I'm sitting here and I'm like, wow, it is a gloomy day. It is not a day to kind of hang out or just, it's a nice stay at home soup kind of a day, right? I know you ladies could feel me on that one. So I say, you know what? On days like this, or just days I didn't have anything planned, I would sit there and just test it out, try different things, put mini combinations together. I would go ahead and I would put a protein smoothie with some flaxseed and spinach. Or I would go ahead and I would take a hard boiled egg with a half an avocado and then have some sliced pears as a snack. Or another good one, which I tried recently, which don't sleep on this, ladies. Give it a try. Do some turkey slices with cooked zucchini and then olive oil drizzle. It's crazy. It tastes so, so good. And another one would be like Greek yogurt with some berries and chia seeds. And again, making sure that you're always pairing a protein and a fiber first, and then you could add the small healthy fats. That's going to help to support fullness without overloading your digestion. And that is the focus. We do not want to overload your digestion. We don't want to give you a lot to process. We want it to be small. We want it to be filling. We want it to be consistent. And that would be really the focus of what we're looking for. So again, like I said, ladies, this is all about having to eat, but not having to eat perfectly. I've said this before. It is not about perfection. It's about consistency. It is about building on the small habits, because then eventually it will become second nature for you, ladies. It became second nature for me. That's kind of how I live nowadays, and I don't regret it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. As I said, I have my days. Like just 2 days ago, I sat down and I was like, you know what? I want a bag of chips. I was like, I want a bag of chips. So I went out, got myself a small bag of chips, like a Lay's bag potato chips, the ones I used to go crazy for when I was younger. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to sit down and eat it. I didn't overindulge. I didn't go crazy. I didn't be like, no, I can't do that because I'm on a diet or I have a certain weight. No, if I wanted it, I did it. I did a small portion of it. I enjoyed it. I kicked the craving and I moved on. And now I feel like I didn't deny myself anything. And that's how we do it, ladies. That's how we do it over time. So over time, when these little meals and they add up, they give you more energy. You're going to have better digestion and you're going to feel less bloated. And that's going to be the motivation that you need to stay consistent with it. So ladies, I definitely want to go ahead and invite you. At the bottom of this description is going to be a quick little list, kind of like a breakdown of what I just finished speaking about going ahead and creating these buckets and what you can add to it. You know, I've created so many different guides and I've talked to so many different people, and I have my own program that we could go ahead and speak one-on-one. So I definitely want for you guys to come over and find me in the Stand Store. It's going to be the link in the bio. If not, stop by my Instagram or my TikTok. You guys could definitely go ahead and book a free discovery call with me. So we're able to be something a little bit more personalized and a little bit more support. So it's going to be just a one-on-one, because everybody's different. Everyone really is different. And if this episode gave you any like light bulb moments, leave a review. It helps me reach more women who need the support. It helps for me to be able to be available and just have a community of like-minded women who are all looking for the same goal, who are all looking for the same outcome. So yeah, it was absolutely fun, ladies. I cannot wait for next week. Make sure to check out my IGs, because I am going to start incorporating a lot of these podcasts into my Instagram, so they kind of will all speak to each other. Because a lot of what I have to say, I know now that I have a little bit of time on my hands, I can go ahead and incorporate them. with everything across the board. And that's my goal. I really want to build this community up, and I can't do it without you guys' support. So I hope you have a great afternoon, guys, and God bless. Take care. Bye.